Sometimes when we talk about preferences, we talk about real choices instead of just general likes or dislikes. In these situations, we don't usually use prefer, we use would rather. Okay, let's look at some examples of would rather. I would rather drink tea than coffee. Would you rather drink red or white wine? When we use would rather, we mean that we want the first thing more than the second thing. This is not a general preference. It means I want it now instead of the other choice. I want the first thing. So when we tell someone something, we always use would rather with than. Let's look at some examples again so you can see how we make a sentence. I would rather drink tea than coffee. When we ask a question, we use would rather with or. Look at the example again to see how we make a question. Would you rather drink red or white wine? When we want to make a negative sentence, we use would rather not. Okay, we only focus on the negative alternative. For example, he would rather not eat at home. Okay, let's do some more practice with would rather. First, look at these sentences and questions using would rather. She would rather have salad than soup. We would rather drink beer than wine. Would he rather have tea or coffee? I would rather eat at home than in a restaurant. Would you rather have fish or chicken for your main course? I would rather not eat meat. Okay, now let's try using what we have learned about would rather. Linda, would you rather have juice or water?
I'd rather have juice, thank you.
Okay. Alberto, would you rather have red or white wine?
I would rather have red wine, please.
All right. Sylvia, would you rather eat ice cream or fruit salad?
I would rather have fruit salad.
Of course, because she's healthy. Okay. Very good. Sylvia, can you ask Linda a question, please?
Okay. Linda, would you rather have salad or soup?
I'd rather have soup, thank you.
Okay. Linda, please ask Alberto a question.
Okay. Alberto, would you rather have milk or water?
I would rather not have water.
Very good. Now Alberto, ask Sylvia a question.
Sylvia, would you rather drink beer or wine?
I would rather drink wine, thanks.
Okay, and now we would rather look and listen.
Look and listen.
Would you rather have milk or mineral water? I would rather have mineral water, thank you. Would she rather have fruit juice or wine? She would rather have fruit juice. Would they rather eat at home or in the restaurant? They would rather eat in the restaurant.
Read and repeat.
Now we are going to look at ways we can agree or disagree with someone about their preferences. When you agree, you think the same or have the same opinion as someone else. When you disagree, you have a different idea or a different opinion or preference from what they are talking about. There are two ways of agreeing with someone. Okay, you can either say, me too, or so, plus your auxiliary verb, plus I. Let's have a look at these sentences to see how we can use these expressions. So we have a conversation between Mike and Susan. Mike says, I prefer red wine to white wine. Susan says, me too, I love red wine. We can also agree by saying something like this. I prefer red wine to white wine. So do I. I love red wine. Let's have a look at another example. Mike says she prefers meat to chicken. Susan can say, so do I. I prefer meat to chicken. Notice that with each of these examples, when Mike speaks, he is using a normal verb, not an auxiliary verb. And Susan agrees by using the auxiliary verb do. We always use this auxiliary verb when we agree with someone if they are using a normal verb to talk about their preferences or opinions. Now, let's look at these sentences and see how Susan agrees with Mike. I am hungry. So am I. Here's another example. I would rather have fish than chicken. So would I. Mike says, I can cook. So Susan says, so can I. Now, did you notice that when Mike speaks, he uses the verbs am, can, and would. So when Susan speaks, she uses the same verbs in her reply. So we always use the same verb the person is using if we agree with them, and they're using to be or a modal like can, could, will, and would. Okay, let's look at some sentences where people talk about their preferences and other people agree with them. Take a look. I prefer beer to wine. So do I. I would rather have ice cream than chocolate cake. So would I. I am having fish for dinner. So am I.